What's up, guys? If you're new here, my name is Sean. The streets call me Color Me Fresh, and I am a custom sneaker artist. Now, as you guys can see, today's video is going to be a full Shoe-Dio room tour. Now, if you're not into customizing shoes, you can also call this an art studio because this is the primary room I do a lot of my artwork in. Now, I have a very unique situation. Luckily, my wife was a real one, so I use probably about 30% of the house for my sneakers. So I have this primary room, like I said, that I do a lot of my sneaker artwork in, a lot of my digital work and things like that. And then the room across the hall was originally supposed to be a man cave, but life happens, babies happen, and that's no longer the case. So now I use that room for like overflow, and I keep just like random stuff in there. Then we have the loft behind this wall here that I keep my sewing machine in. I also use that room for like my shipping and unboxing. I keep a lot of my boxes and stuff like that in that room. So I'm gonna be going through each of these rooms, just showing you guys what I have in the rooms. And I will also try to include links in the description of a lot of the stuff I have in here. Now, a couple of really important things before we continue. Number one, do not compare yourself to me. We all start somewhere. When I first started, I was in the garage on a fold-up table. I remember those long, cold winter nights being in sweatpants and a hoodie, trying to paint shoes in the garage. I had to work to get to this point, to get my room to look how I want, and I'm not finished. I would like more. I need a bigger house. I need a bigger room, but it all comes with time. So do not compare where you're at in your journey to me. Number two, a lot of the stuff in this room you may not even need. I know a lot of people, myself included, when we find a dope artist, we try to find everything they use because they think that's going to help our artwork, and that's not the case. Not even close. I had to learn that the hard way. And when I say the hard way, that was me spending a lot of money and realized my artwork at the time still wasn't that good. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be, if you understand what I'm saying. So keep that in mind. Some of this stuff is just convenience things that I picked up over time, or it's just things I like to look at, you know, like the statues and the comic books and the cards. You know, I spent a lot of time in this room, and so I got tired of going into a room I hated being in and looking at. I wanted to be in a space I wanted to enjoy being in. And this room also gives me a lot of inspiration with me doing original work as well. And so the deeper I dive into that, I just started appreciating things like statues, comic books, and cars, because I'm starting to understand the kind of work and how difficult it can be to create those different kinds of things. And so I started collecting them. But again, don't get distracted by the shinies. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get into the video. Now, starting with the desk area, it's only right to start here first because this is where the magic happens. So with my desk, if you've never been to IKEA, I love IKEA. You can pretty much put a bunch of different things together that don't necessarily go together and kind of just make some stuff that you want. And so the actual top of my desk is like a countertop, like any countertop you would see in like a bathroom maybe, or like a kitchen. And what is on are Alex drawers. And again, a lot of people use this setup for like gaming and like little studios because it's cheap, it's not expensive, and you can just kind of make it look how you want to look. And I think that's really dope. So if you have an IKEA by you, I recommend you checking out IKEA. You can go on Pinterest as well and find like different ideas and different things people have done with their setups, or like these kinds of units, and you can just take what they did and put it in your own room. On my tablet, I have a Huion Canvas 22 Plus, I believe. I don't remember the exact amount that I paid for this, but I'll have the link in the description. I'm not that into digital art, to be honest. So the primary function of my tablet at the moment is a second monitor. I keep my mockups on it. If I open up a web browser, I put that on it. Like, I do not like the shortcuts that I have to use in like Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint. And then on top of that, it's just a learning curve of using those brain fart, bro. Of using those applications. So I could learn how to use them, but it's just like with the time that I already am short on at the moment, from me making YouTube videos, me making shoes, coming up with original designs, drawing, sketching, practicing, being a father, being a husband, being a son. I don't have time for that. And so what I primarily do my digital artwork on is Procreate. I like the workflow of it, and I don't really have to learn anything at this point. So that's what I like to use for my digital work. And so yeah, like I said, my current state of my tablet is a second monitor. But it is great for what it is, and the price point, right? It was decently priced for what you get out of it. So if you're into a tablet, I do recommend this one. Again, I will have the link in the description. And then my monitor here is a LG ultra wide. I believe this is 34 inch. Again, great monitor. I did have a dual monitor setup, but I went with the ultra wide to kind of give that a go, and I actually really like it a lot. It does help with my workflow, and it also saves on space. And then my lights, nothing special. I don't really know what kind of lights these are. These are just your regular clip desk lights. That's what I'm looking at when I'm talking right now. And what you see on the outside of the lights are diffusers. You can also use parchment paper. I've used parchment paper before. I also have used like dryer sheets. Now I may look a little ghetto, but you know, it gets the job done. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. I'm going over to my little pen basket. As you can see, I have too many pens. I have liners, I have permanent markers, I have highlighters. I also have my paint brushes there as well. I use a lot of Princeton brushes. You don't have to use Princeton brushes to make dope artwork. You can use pretty much any other brand that you want. Just try some stuff and figure out what kind of price point, you know, works with your budget and go from there. And then as you can see, I have my little baskets with my paint in them. That's not the only paint that I have. I have a lot of paint in my drawers. Those are the smaller, like 1 ounce bottles. And you don't want to see those right now because it's a mess. And so these baskets, I think, are actually like bathroom type baskets used for like shampoo and stuff like that. But again, bought them and just use them in my studio. I also keep my heat gun, my sander, and all of my prepping things in these baskets as well. And then going to the wall right here to the right of me, where my pen basket is, I have my pegboard with my scissors, my X-Acto knives. The main things, as you can see, are my little 1 ounce mixing cups, my popsicle sticks, and my pointed Q-tips. I know a lot of people use Q-tips, but if you want a game changer, try the pointed Q-tips. It kind of gives you that little extra edge when you want to get into a tight spot, as well as the popsicle sticks. I use those for mixing. I used to use like the plastic straws, but those aren't really durable. And popsicle sticks are really cheap. You can get a ton of them for a really great price. And so I use those. And then of course you have the 1 ounce mixing cups. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, I'm big on paint mixing. Then the wall, you have the original character Gino from my story Kilo 47. That's the print. And then you have my, I guess what, shadow boxes. I got these off of Etsy of Ninja Turtles, huge Ninja Turtle fan, and those were some of my favorite games as a kid. So it only made sense for me to get those and put those on the wall. And then the speakers that I have on my desk are the Audio Engine A5s. Now these bad boys slap. Not slap, they slap. Like if you want some loud speakers, boy, oh boy, these are them. Yes. Now they aren't cheap. I think I spent around $500 at the time, but even when these speakers are at like 50%, you can hear them outside in the middle of the street. And so I know my neighbors hate me by now, but I had to tell myself, you know, am I going to allow other people to get in the way of me being creative? And music helps me be creative. You know, I listen to a lot of music when I'm working, especially when I'm drawing and sketching, coming out with ideas. It kind of just puts me in this mindset. And the louder the music, man, the better I feel. And so I had to get them. And like I said, man, so check these out. I will also have these in the description down below. The rest of the stuff on the side wall, you have a skateboard deck of another character from Kilo 47. That's Silas, that's Gino's twin brother. And then you have my Star Wars comic book poster thing there with a couple of Star Wars comic books. And then the best part to me is my back wall. As you can see it behind me, I have all my statues there, a lot of the shoes that I created, as well as slabs and my my cards. Starting on this side, you have my Gara statue with the Gara shoes I just finished. Going into, you know, the Darth Maul and Asajj Ventress statue with a slab of Darth Maul. And then after that, you have the Akuma and Evil Ryu statues with the Akuma Jordan 1s I made. And as you can see, the dope Street Fighter comic books with the slabs as well. And then throughout the cubbies on the back wall, you have a couple of my favorite shoes, the Avatars, my Ninja Turtles, the Arrival Jordan 1s with 2 10 mint graded cards, which again, I don't know how rare these cards are. I don't care. I like them. I like the way they look with my kicks, so I bought them. Then you have the One Piece Jordan 1s in the custom box made by the homie Shoebaker ATL. And then you have the Miles Morales figure with the slab with the little card, and then the Naruto and Sasuke little figurines with, I think this one's graded at a 9, Chidori card. Again, don't know how rare it is. I just like it. And then you have two of my favorite comic books, slab, whatever you want to call it, of the White Ranger. Now, this is actually signed by Jason David Frank. Pick this bad boy up on eBay. And then you have the other one with just him holding his helmet as the Green Ranger. Again, I was a huge Power Rangers fan growing up, so I had to get them. Then the last little section in the back wall are the books. You know, it's nothing pretty to look at, but they make a huge difference. You know, I look at these books a lot when I'm studying, or they're just books I'm just really into. You know, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was probably one of my favorite movies. That actually made me a fan of Miles Morales. I really didn't care too much about Miles Morales prior to that movie. And so that's probably one of my favorite books that I have back there, is just the artwork from the movie, as well as my Avatar The Last Airbender art book. You know, I love Avatar as well. I think, yeah, that actually probably got me more into anime. Didn't watch anime a lot growing up. Just being an adult, I just started watching Avatar again, and that kind of just got me into it, to be honest with you. After Avatar, man, Aang put me up on game. Ooh, bars. Aang put me up on game. Hey. So the shelving in the back is from IKEA as well. I think these are Calyx units. I'm not sure. I'll double check and let you guys know. But yeah, man, it's very easy to put together. Also use the bins at the bottom here for storage. I keep like my cables and stuff for my camera in there. I also keep like my shoe horns, tattered shirts that I use to stuff my shoes or maybe clean up a mess with. I also keep my shoelaces here, as well as like little knickknacks and doodads and stuff like that, just to keep stuff out of the way. And then you have the little section to the left of me. Now, believe it or not, this section actually got me into wanting to redo this room, because there was times where I would want to draw and sketch, but when I'm painting, my desk is covered, and so I didn't really have space to draw. And so I was like, you know, I want a space where I can draw, sit down, and just work out concepts. And that's when I was like, you know, I'm gonna move my sewing machine out, put a little table here, and use that for my sketching and drawing and studying. And from there, I just got carried away, and as you can see, it turned into this. So of course you have the TV. I think that's a 50-inch, you know, it's a TV. And then you have the comic books over there. I use those to study and just check out art styles. And then a couple of other cards that I just haven't put up because I don't really have anywhere to put them at the moment. I need to rearrange some stuff. So I have those cards sitting there. You also see Kakashi and Obito little figurines on the little, I don't know what that is. So I think it was like a book holder, but I don't use it for books. So yeah. Then you have my little figurines that I use for reference that kind of show the human anatomy with the Avatar The Last Airbender art book that I had mentioned before. Now this little doodad is called a Sketchboard Pro. You put your iPad in this and, you know, use it for drawing. I use it a lot, especially because it gives it this elevation and the angle, you know, to help you from not having to hunch over as much. So again, this is something else that I do recommend, especially if you do a lot of sketching and drawing on your iPad. And then we have the Orochimaru statue right here with the Jordan ones underneath it. Now this statue actually has a really big snake that kind of wraps around him, but unfortunately it came broken. So I had to send it back to the company. They're supposed to be sending me a new one, and that's been about a month now, maybe 6 weeks. So I might need to email them. The chair that I have is a GT Omega racing chair. I think it's just called a racing chair because of the style of the seat. There's plenty of brands that do these kinds of chairs. I also have a DX Racer in the other room. I do recommend these. They do last pretty well. They're not too expensive. I think this one cost me like $400, but it also depends on the size and the style that you get. I'm roughly 6'4", so I kind of need something bigger. If you're like 5'10", 5'11", it may be a little bit cheaper. So yeah, look into that. I will have a link in the description down below. Now that concludes this room. Let's go take a quick look at the other two rooms. I might even throw in the bonus room, which is the garage. Do this one quickly. As you can see, this is my sewing machine. This is a Texo 2900. I paid roughly $2,500 for this, I think. I'm not sure of the exact cost. I just know I spent over $2,000. Now, if you plan on sewing every day, it's a good investment. But for me, I don't sew that much, so I kind of took an L on this. But again, if you plan on doing like decons, recons, or you plan on sewing every day, it's a really good investment. Outside of that, you can probably get like an old cobbler machine. I know some people use a Chinese sewing machine. I'm not going to tell you to get that because I did have that too, and it doesn't really last that long, but you can try it if you want. Here's my Kilo 47 display with the shoes I made for Gino. And then, you know, you have my boxes in here, my shipping, my printer, and all of that mess. And then this is the table that I do a lot of my unboxings and stuff on. I also use this table to cut like my tongue tags. I use this thing here, as well as this little doodad. I forget the name of it. I will put the link in the description down below if I can find it. And yeah, that's it for this room. It's really not a whole lot in here. Now, like I said, this is the extra room. The primary function right now is storage. I used to have my son's really big playpen right here in the middle of the floor, but I just moved that out. And, you know, I just don't have enough space for everything in that room. So for the longest period of time, I used to just keep my shoes in here. But of course, I sold some of those, or I just moved those from here into the other room. So I'm probably going to get rid of this and then put another shelving unit here and use that to display some more, I guess, statues and sneakers and stuff. And then, of course, you have the Goku Dragon Ball in there with another box made by Shoebaker with more figurines and a Piccolo card. And then my massive X-Men and Sentinel statue. I kind of wanted to put this in the other room, but it's too big and it weighs too much to be in there. So, have to leave it in here for right now. Of course, more posters. And then just prints. Like I said, stuff that I order or samples, I don't have anywhere to put it. So I keep it in here. You see some skateboard decks. And then, you know, you have the Saiyan Pod display that I made and the Dragon Ball. And then that's the snake that I'm waiting on the pieces for. It's like 3 different pieces. Only one piece wasn't broken, so I'm waiting on the other half. And then you have the Master Roshi display. Again, don't have space for this in the other room. And then, of course, the computer where I do my editing. And I'm actually editing this video as we speak. Now that concludes the Shoe-Dio room tour, guys. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. Unfortunately, I didn't get to take a look at the garage and show you guys that because it's an absolute mess. And if I put that on YouTube, my wife would kill me. So I skipped that for right now. Maybe when I clean it up, I'll do that in the future tour because I do want to do another one next year for the year of 2022 to see how it's changed since this video. So again, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification one time for your boy. Also, check out my socials and my website down below. Until next time, my friends, stay thirsty.